Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Changeling the Dreaming 20th Anniversary Edition rules by White Wolf Publishing. This actual play is performed by adults and contains adult themes. We welcome you to our freeholds and our dreamlands, but take caution, as there are things that go bump in the night. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living or from places from far beyond dreams, is strictly coincidental. And now, on with the show. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I am neither your storyteller, your handler, or your keeper this evening, because we are here to wrap up Whispers of the Lost with James. And so I'm going to turn the veritable fortress over to James, and he can do his He-Man yell.
Yelp. I'm sorry, I'm not much of a He-Man when it comes to yelping and whatnot, but I will do my best to make this humdinger of a story end with a bang. And I appreciate the intro, Mike. Thank you. Let's see who is at the table with me this evening for this memorable event. To my right.
I'm Bunny. My pronouns are she, her, and so are Edie, who I play, who is a knocker fashion designer. And I'm so curious about Sir Hot Stuff's home.
Sir Hot Stuff? Chateau de Hot Stuff, if you will. You know what? I think there's a lot of curiosity about his toasty abode. Next to you at the table.
Hello there. My name is Mira. My pronouns are she, her, and so are Aaron Sharps, our Cluricon friend. We are so excited to try to see what's going on here because it's pretty confusing up in here, but I'm not as confused as everybody else in the group.
And being the least confused person, I mean, isn't that you're the bastion of sense in the storm?
That's dangerous.
The eye in the chaos, yes. Next to the eye of in the chaos.
Hi, this is Rena. My pronouns are they, them. I play Kelly Wild, she, they, a newly awakened puka who has some impulse control issues we discovered.
You say impulse control issues. I hear thirst for adventure. And last at the table, but not least at the table.
Yeah, hi, this is Mike. I will be playing Sir Rowan Stewart of House Fiona, the aforementioned holder of potentially some house. And frankly, I'm a bit shocked and at a loss for words.
Shocked and at a loss for words. And all because of Hot Stuff Manor. So the moonlight illuminates our intrepid and motley crew. Standing in the street at the junction of Drury Lane and Storybrooke Avenue, we find four confused and, frankly, probably now a little chilly of our intrepid adventurers, our changelings, if you will. They've seen one or two fairly interesting things here at the place they call Fairyland Amusement Park, or used to be called a Fairyland Amusement Park. So the four of you, as you stand here and your ears are recovering from that last little pop, what are you doing as the patches of moonlight move through the trees?
I'm going to try to sort of break a little bit of the stunned silence and say, does anybody else keep hearing their ears pop?
Oh, yeah. Every time something comes in or out of this place, it just... Like, it happened when I came here, I think, because it happened every time everyone else came here. That's how I could tell that you all were at the gate. So,
as Edie's words echo off of the pavement in the various buildings about you, imagine, if you will, an amusement park that was built sometime, you would say, in the 1950s from the architecture and the structure about you. Trees and vines and flowers grow up over, around, and through almost everything. Many of the buildings have, we'll say, resisted somewhat the passage of time. They're not as run down as you would think they would be, but you can definitely still tell that time has, in fact, marched through here with a heavy stick, if you will. All of the buildings that you have passed have obviously been fairy tale themed. The one you're facing right now is a closed concession stand that is of the Muffin Man. It looks like it used to sell muffins, bagels, donuts. It is closed and shuttered, and you're not entirely certain that anything that was in there you would want to eat anyway. And you're at a junction. Behind you is a shuttered business that you would prefer not to go back into. To your left and to your right are streets that stretch out before you as well. To the left, if you look off in the moonlight, you see the long bridge, and in the very distance, there's a small manor house on what looks like maybe across the bridge on an island. And then in front of you, easily drawing your eyes because it's the only thing that has any light, and you have to sort of crane your head around the corner, there's been one source of light, and it seems to be coming from what looks like a tavern, maybe, fairly fancy-looking building, with, again, it looks like it's the only window that's lit so far that you've come across. And why doesn't everyone make me an alertness perception roll? That would be fantastic. Let's break this bottle of champagne.
Asking for the mechanics on this one. If you roll a 1, does that cancel it out?
A 1 does cancel out a success.
Okay. What if you rolled 2 1s against 1 success?
Oh, then that is a very special kind of roll, which we call a botch.
Okay, great.
That is the opposite of a critical success.
I have one of those.
Okay.
I have 4 successes.
Yeah, all right. Kelly has 4 successes.
I have 2.
2 for Rowan.
I also have -1 success.
So Edie and Aaron both have -1 success. Okay. Then 2 things happen simultaneously. It will happen this way. The first thing that the two of you who... okay, so first we'll go with 4 successes. Kelly, your ears, both sets, are extremely sharp. In fact, you feel as though they are sharper now than they have ever been. And as you focus on what you're hearing, you realize that you don't have, in fact, 2 sets of ears, just the one set here. They're just the ones on top of your head. And with that set, you hear footsteps far off. And there sounds like maybe they're getting closer.
Something's here.
Rowan, this helps break that moment that you're still kind of gazing at that building. You're having a hard time willing your feet away from it or towards it.
Okay.
What you hear, Rowan, is just one set of footsteps, but they are very much not trying to be quiet.
Okay.
And in fact, they're more of a clomping.
I look at the Clericon, assuming that she's likely making noise.
However, when you go to look to the Clericon and Edie, when you look at to Aaron and Edie, you both stop to listen because Kelly mentions to listen. But what you get is not hearing. What you get is smell. And it is the overwhelming, pungent smell of garbage, just like dumpster juice. And between the two of you, you hear a voice say, "I bet you thought that was funny." And then one of you gets a hand around the left shoulder, and one of you gets a hand around the other shoulder, and you feel pulled backwards into shadows. Rowan, you go to look to Edie and Aaron, and all you hear is a very small eep from one of them. You're not sure which, but you look to where they were, and they're not there anymore.
That's clearly Aaron, because if it was me, it'd just be solid swearing that they caught part of.
That's true.
Right. I have one long F-bomb.
Yeah.
4 megaton F-bomb.
That's right. I'll sort of turn and try to... Oh, I guess try to see where they would have gone. Tracks, anything like that.
Yes, you are looking about. You don't see them at the moment, but you do hear that walking towards you, Kelly. You also see now that you and Rowan are the only ones standing here at this moment, suddenly.
I move behind Rowan.
Kelly slides up behind Rowan, and Rowan, you have never felt more like the protector, literal protector, than you have right at this moment.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Kelly is sort of my charge in this whole coming of Changeling era, so
you do feel, in a very real way, responsible for her. Out of the shadows, at the far end of Storybook Lane here, into one of the patches of moonlight steps a very large, you would say 6'7", 6'8" man. You have seen him before. The moonlight causes the antlers that sprout from the front and sides of his head to glisten in the moonlight. And he steps forward. You hear the clomping is actually from the hooves of on where his feet should be.
Have I seen this antler set before?
Oh yes, you have certainly seen this 30-point buck, as it were. You have definitely seen this set of antlers before, relatively recently.
I'll regard him reasonably respectfully. I don't suppose you know where two of my compatriots got up to?
He stops. They're with a friend of mine, I do believe.
Interesting. You know, I'm not sure if you're aware, but we've tried to sort of push off the whole baby stealing thing. It's not really the modern take on what we do.
He tilts his head. Stealing babies? Man, that's fucked up.
Well, the squire is young, but...
Oh, them. Well, if they're old enough to carry weapons, they're old enough to defend themselves, it would seem to me. Nah, I don't take kids. He steps forward 2-3 more times into the moonlight. He's about 10 feet from you now.
It's pretty close. All things considered.
All things considered.
So what do you do?
I do what I'm told. And that, right now, involves a duel.
A duel?
We tussled. But we have an oath. I took one, and we have a date on the bridge, I think. He gestures to the bridge in front of you.
Fascinating. A duel. You and I.
He holds up a hand. Indeed, but let's take care of something else first. So Edie and Aaron, you are yanked into the shadows. There's a nauseating spinning feeling, and when you land, you don't quite recognize where you're at. It is, there is a road that it looks like it was paved at one point with yellow bricks. And you're sitting next to a closed exhibit of gemstones, and the whole building is painted green. It is the gemstones of Amazement, O-Z, Amazement. You're both standing. It's not like you're being thrown to the ground or anything. And there's nearby on a top of a trash can, like a garbage bin, is a all in black, lanky, long-haired figure. He's kind of crouched and he's staring directly at you. Movement is almost, you wouldn't say serpentine, but it doesn't look like he has bones the way that normal people have bones.
Does this look familiar to the creature that we saw at the Cat's Cradle?
Oh, yes. This, in fact, looks exactly like the one that you saw at the Cat's Cradle that was then summarily stuffed into a garbage can and wheeled away. In fact, a garbage can that smells a lot like the being that's crouched in front of you on top of a dumpster, who looks very displeased.
Erin kind of rolls her shoulders a little bit and looks to Edie for a moment. Hey, look. It's our old friend.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a pile of dreck to me, but sure.
Mm-hmm.
Friend also is a word for it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And Erin has this look about her where it's like she's gearing up a bit, her shoulders rolling, a bit of a crooked grin on her face. So, want to chat? Got something on your mind?
I want an apology.
Oh, an apology. An apology for a party crasher. Right, an apology for a party crasher who showed up at an event where we were all having a good time. And now we're all here not having a good time. Is that what you want? You want an apology for me removing an obstacle from a good time?
Why are you here?
I think I got this one. You brought us here. We were not here, and now we're here, and it smelled like ass, like you, along the way, and now we're here. So why we're here is really, that's your fault, not ours. What a silly question to ask. Do you also have memory problems as bad as how much you think right now? Or like, what's happening here?
He slowly shakes his head and steps down off of the garbage can. The way his legs unfold from under him is almost, it's disturbing to say the least. He bows once to you. I'm sorry.
Please continue.
We didn't mean to crash your party. Well, we did. That's entirely not true. We totally did.
But didn't seem like it was by accident.
But he holds his hands up. But I don't want to fight you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, then why are we here with you right now? Seems kind of like a hostile thing to do, is to just...
He stops and he kind of looks around. Have you found them yet?
Okay. Edie looks to Erin. Do you know what do you know what he's talking about? Because who?
The girls.
Oh, no. If we had found them, they would have been with us, but they weren't with us when you just farted us here, so I don't know what you want from us.
He kind of points off towards one exhibit. Well, I was thinking that I would check in there. You could check over here.
Sorry, are you looking for the person you stole?
He looks genuinely shocked and somewhat hurt. I would never harm a child. Never. That never might live in your dreams now. Just a little bit. It raises goosebumps, and then the goosebumps are like, meh, screw it. We'll go another layer. And he slides up next to you in a very serpentine kind of way, so that it's like he's very eye to eye to you. Under any other circumstances, we would have a fight that you would remember for either a very long time or not at all. But there are children in danger. Let's not be distracted.
Okay. You hinder blasted us here to talk to us about missing kids. How did you get here?
He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a set of, like, the kind of tongs that you buy at a dollar store, and pulls out a ticket.
But by accident or by purpose? Or on purpose? You know what I mean. Backwards.
Well, it took some experimenting, but he offers the ticket to Erin.
There's a reason why you're holding that with tongs. Erin, don't...
I know. I wasn't going to touch it. What do you think I am, dumb? And she sits there and like takes her hand that was starting to extend and reaches it down into a pocket and pulls out probably like a candy wrapper or something that she had before. She has a bit of a sweet tooth. Pulls out the candy wrapper and now has it in a pinch, separating her fingers from the ticket.
He lets go of the ticket with the tongs.
Okay. So what makes you think that they would be over there?
I don't know. But I also don't know anywhere where they would be in the park, so they could be anywhere.
Also, are we still in the park now, or?
Of course. I couldn't take you outside the park. I actually don't remember which way we came in, so we should probably hurry.
Okay.
Do I still remember which way we came in?
Well, actually, give me a wits Greymare roll.
So I had a success, and then I lost it.
Oh.
One. This time for real.
Okay. Well, I mean, so they just canceled each other out?
They canceled each other out. Yeah, I had a 7 and a 1.
Okay. Well, it's better than a complete breakdown of society. Edie?
I got 3.
3. Fantastic. All right. You, Aaron, you could not for the life of you right now tell you which way is out or even which way is where the rest of the people that you knew were, of which you're pretty sure there were 2. Edie, you're pretty sure that if you triangulate it right, you're actually probably only about 150, 200 feet away from Rowan and Kelly. And you would say that the exit is probably off to your right, maybe several hundred yards.
Okay. Yeah, no, if you need to get back out, like, it's just down Drury Lane past the Moldy Muffin Man. Like...
The words Muffin Man do kind of jog something in your head, Aaron. Like you've seen that maybe before. Yes, the Muffin Man is what jogs your memory. And the lanky individual with not too much more preamble stalks off towards one of the broken down exhibits.
Oh, hey, wait.
He stops and turns on heel.
You had apologized to us. It was very nice of you. So I feel like I shouldn't just call you the Slithering Drek or something like that. So do you have like a name or something so I can refer to you in a way that isn't antagonistic? Just for now, while we're on the same team. On team Help the Kids.
Slythe.
Slythe?
He shakes his head.
I can remember that. It's sort of like how you move. Okay. Slythe. I'm Edie. It's sort of nice to meet you.
He bows to you and to Aaron. And then turns around again without, not a word, literally not a sound. He does not seem to make even just the ruffling of clothing and such as he walks away. And you almost instantly lose him in the shadows on the moonlight.
Okay, so Aaron, we're not that far away from the others, but we probably should check if the girls are actually over where Slythe referenced, right? Like, that feels like the fucking move, right?
It feels like the move, but... well, yeah. I feel like I can't remember everything as clearly. Like, I didn't recall anything about the Muffin Man until you said something about it. This place is doing stuff to me.
Yeah, this place seems to have like a... God damn it. It sort of has like a forgetting vibe to it. Like a malaise of fucking with our brains. I don't know.
I forgot about the forgetting part until just now.
That seems like a consequence of not remembering would be to forget. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that we're going to forget if we go over there?
Ooh, we can do a thing. It's an exercise I like to do with people also, so I don't forget things when they tell them to me, because sometimes things just don't feel important enough to remember unless I repeat them a few times. So instead of just repeating somebody's name internally, like I actually listened when they introduced themselves, I think that right now what we do is we go, we are here with Rowan and Kelly. They are over that way. And we just sort of keep trying to remind ourselves what we're doing and that we weren't just here, the two of us. And I'll keep dropping buttons. I've been dropping buttons like breadcrumbs. I think, though, I realize there'll be a gap in the buttons between here and wherever we go next and wherever we were because we didn't walk here. But we'd find our way back to here at least, and maybe spatial memory will remind us that we were here for a reason before. Maybe?
I think I've got an idea too. And she puts her hand down to the dirt and gets some of the dirt and mud on her skin, on her fingertip, and writes on her forearm, Rowan, Kelly, Muffin Man.
Excellent. And that does seem to help literally and figuratively cement them in your brain. Having written them, it seems like maybe a different part of your brain is being used. Now, when the two of you are you deciding to investigate a local area, or are you heading back towards Rowan and Kelly, who we will be back with in a moment?
Slythe said that they believed over this way was where the kids were, and that was the entire reason for us coming here.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems as if that's the move. Since while we're here, since we won't know how to get back here anyway.
Oh, I know. Is the ground here particularly muddy and dirty, considering what Aaron just did? Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm going to write in the mud, hot stuff and house, with like an arrow in the direction I felt like they were in. And then I'll start dropping buttons. So if we get back here, I'll remember which way they were. But yeah, I agree. We should check out the thing he pointed at.
Also, not to be a game breaker. That's not my life. That's not a thing I do. Do we have notes apps on our phones?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, I sent you Google Maps before. I think we're...
You did. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. So Erin's going to pull out her phone and take pictures of some of the surrounding area.
Fantastic. And that makes you also, that also helps combat some of that fog or mist, if you will, that
Perfect.
Seemed to have gathered in your brain without realizing it. And as you two go set out to investigate a local area, one of the local buildings, we will quickly jump back to Rowan and Kelly. The tall man with the antler. He steps forward, and again, not in a aggressive way. We came here to help.
Came here to help find them.
He nods.
All right. Let's say I believe that. What have you found?
Well, mainly just a group of people standing in the middle of a four-way here, kind of looking around at things.
I spoke with a spider. Gave me some interesting insights.
What's that?
Well, it seems the bridge might be an apt metaphor for what's going on here. There are 2 girls missing.
I only heard about the one.
Well, you're going to have to take the other one, I think, a little bit on myth.
I got no problem believing that.
All right, then. I'll retrieve a watch from my pocket rather than look at my phone. Look at the dial hands and see roughly what time it is. What time did you say this duel was supposed to be at?
I think it's appropriate it happens at midnight. Yeah.
Certainly. What time is it now?
It's about 10:45.
Well, that gives us about an hour to find them. Find this girl. And then, calisthenics beforehand.
It's important to limber up before something physical. He
I
stands
agree.
up. He puts out a hand that, like, the fingernails are very sharp and almost hoof-like. His hands are very large and meaty, like he can touch fingers around your hand.
Oh yeah. I'm a rather dainty fellow, like all things considered. I shake his hand without reservation.
The name is Hart.
I'll give you mine in about an hour.
Oh, you worried I'm going to pull old magic on you?
No, I just prefer, well, the formality. You understand.
I do. All right.
Very well. Then let us call a truce for an hour and engage, happily in this search for the child.
All right. Any ideas? Kelly, you have literally been standing behind Rowan this whole time, and he kind of
looking back and forth between them, like what is happening. Yep.
Hart occasionally will lean just a little so he can see you standing behind Rowan. He leans in a little. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but your shadow is it has more texture than most. He has kind of a half smile and looks back at Kelly.
This slightly feminine shadow. Yes, this is a charge of mine. This is Kelly.
Little wave.
Right, slightly step. Yeah, just wide enough for Kelly to wave.
It's very nice to meet you, ma'am.
I believe it's Miss, actually.
Oh,
yes.
My apologies, Miss. It's nice to meet a fellow Puka, even if it is on a field of contention.
Kelly's eyes get huge, like the idea that they're the same. Like just, how cat's eyes get really big when they're on catnip kind of thing. That's what it looks like.
He, again, half smiles. I apologize if we gave the impression that we would harm a child. There are some in the Seelie court that would. We do not. There are boundaries even in darkness. This should be upheld.
And let like a Vulcanish eyebrow go a little high. I find that very interesting. Very well. There's a tavern, I believe, over there with the light on. Perhaps we investigate that first?
I think your lady friend might be more comfortable if I investigate other buildings.
Oh, perhaps.
I don't mind. I'm at home in the dark. We usually are. And he turns and nods to the both of you and stalks into the dark.
Okay. I turn to Kelly. Well.
The hell?
Fascinating.
That's one word.
It is. 4 syllables. Would you care to get a drink?
Sure. Still kind of staring at one finger up in the direction the other puka went off. Just,
Changelings come in all shapes and sizes.
And you two head off towards the tavern?
Indeed we do.
All right. We'll head back to Edie and Aaron, who have made their way into one of the many local business, or local ex-businesses, we'll say, empty shells of business and whatnot. There's all sorts of places about here. You pass a small and fairly smelly old food vendor called the Hungry Goat. It smells like maybe old spoiled milk and cheese. Very, very gross. There is Midas's Gifts. It looks like maybe it's a jewelry store that's been closed and boarded up. There's a bookstore that you see nearby that looks like it's Aesop's Fables. Every building you pass has a theme of, obviously, either stories or fairy tales. And this place was at probably one point very, very charming. However, it being somewhat desiccated, overgrown, and it being nighttime now, and knowing full well that there be monsters out there, does give one a bit of pause as one investigates these buildings. Where would you like to investigate?
I think that Aaron, having known Kat for some time, would want to go someplace where she thinks anything artsy or creative would be, because Kat loves drawing and Kat loves creating things and like making little nooks and being in places like that. So between those spaces, particularly between Midas Gifts and Aesop's bookstore, which of those seems like it would have some of those things connected with it?
Probably Aesop's books more than Midas's gifts. That's probably going to be more trinkets and jewelry, things like that probably would have aged long ago. Aesop's books might be more, looks like it might be more what you're looking for.
Aaron would turn to Edie and just go, Kat likes drawing, and bookstores usually have stationery, right? Even one this old?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Fuck it. Why not? I mean, listen. Kids, right? This place is made to appeal to them. I'm just saying, like, wherever we search in this direction is as good a place to start as any. And that's as good a logic as I can come up with. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Damn, let's go.
Enough. Is there any way for me to check for any sort of tracks that passed through here as well?
Well, I believe that would be a perception investigation roll.
Absolutely.
2 successes. That's what I'm talking about.
There has been a lot, actually, of little footprints that have come through here.
Are there any that seem more recent than others?
Oh, yes. Quite a few, actually. Some very recent.
Where are they going?
Further into Aesop's books, actually.
Brilliant. Aaron notes the tracks and gestures at them and then proceeds to the door. And is it open? Is it unlocked?
It is. As you push it open, and with a very, very small bit of resistance, it pushes open. Inside, as you couldn't see from the outside as it's been boarded up, it is very dim, obviously, inside, because it is nighttime outside, and any little bit of light that your eyes have adjusted to is completely blocked out by the boards and windows, so it is even more cavernously dark inside than outside. Do you have a source of light in any fashion?
May I need to tiny pause for me because I have it on my cheat sheet. I have Trick of the Light, but I think that's more of an illusionary spell or illusion cantrip. I pull out my cell phone.
Oh, hey. And you turn on the flashlight? Look at that down
Absolutely,
there.
I turn on my flashlight on the cell phone.
Okay. And
I was trying out here to do Changeling stuff when I realized, we've got like an actual phone like a normal person would have in this world.
Right. So you pull out your phone and scroll through, hit the button for the light, and a fairly decent amount of light emanates from your phone, illuminating the interior of this first room. A very cozy little book nook of a store. The shelves are all hand carved. It looks like each one different. The shelves are filled with books. And the one thing you don't notice is any smell of rot or mold in here. The thing that you both, once you push the door open, the thing you both hear is very faint and very, very quiet music.
Do we see any of the footprints? Like, is this place dusty where it would see tracks?
Oh, yes. There are lots of one set of footprints, and it looks like they take pretty much just one route back and forth, although there are stray sets that go to the various shelves.
How big are they?
You would say probably a little larger than your hand. They're not very large.
So child size?
Definitely child-sized.
Can I remember the footprints from before up to the tower?
Yes, you can.
Are they roughly the same size?
They are exactly the same size.
Hey, Aaron, these are the same size as the ones that led up to the kids' hiding spot in the clock tower? Like, these are the same.
The music stops with a like a needle scratch sound.
Aaron is continuing along where the footprints go and would end up calling out, "Cat?"
You met with silence.
I want to look at the bookshelves that the stray footprints go off to.
Okay. Are you kind of okay? So one set of footprints lead you off towards looks like recent histories, but the books only go up to, you would say, the 70s.
I'm going to take pictures with my cell phone.
Mm-hmm. It looks like this was pretty much just a small but comprehensive bookstore of various health and history and lots of fairy tales. There's like a whole section of various fairy tales, fairy tale books, editions of books for children.
Does it look like any books were taken off this shelf, or just that the footprints came over here?
The footprints go everywhere. The footprints go, there is a missing book.
I'm going to take note of like where books are missing and take pictures of there too.
Okay. As the camera flashes 2-3 times, Aaron, you are creeping towards where the music was going. Okay. You get to the edge of a doorway, and you're pretty sure that's where the music was coming from, inside whatever this room is. You see light flickering out of the room.
Erin's going to shine her light further into the room and take a step, just kind of, grounding herself as well within it. Kind of being aware she doesn't like being surprised.
Okay. You push the door open, your hand instinctively dropping to the hilt of your sword, reaching for your halberd, which I assume you have brought with you. As you push the door open, and you see in the room ahead of you a small form sitting on looks like a throne made of various books and papers. And we'll get back to you in a moment. So, Rowan and Kelly, you arrive finally at the steps. The road or the walk to this building is not exactly arduous. The cobblestones on the street are uneven, but, there's not booby traps or anything. Knowing that at least your friends are somewhere here in the park does help a little bit of the inherent eeriness that seems to pervade every step and every little bird insect chirp from the brushes. But as you approach this one lit window pane at this building at the far end, you also smell food? You're not sure what kind of food, just something savory, which the smell increases until you are standing right next to the building. The smell's not overwhelming, but you can definitely tell it's coming from inside wherever this building is. And there is a small amount of light coming out of one of the windows on the ground floor. The building itself looks to be of a quasi-German/Austrian construction. The dark beams with white stucco. It looks like it's 2 floors. Very quote-unquote tavern.
Sure. So is there a main door to the location, or?
There is. It is called the Fork and Spoon. And there is a front door that is a large oak door.
Okay. Yeah, I'll head over to it, and assuming that there's a light on in the establishment, I will open the door, and I suppose first peer in, just momentarily, to make sure there's no, wandering inhabitants that might be seeking to do people harm, and if not, then I gesture to the yawning portal for Kelly to go inside.
All right. Kelly, I assume you step in to the fairly, ambiently lit.
Yeah, it seems kind of normal. Normal is good right now, so doors open, in we go.
Okay, you enter this cavernous building here. Tables and chairs set about. However, all of the tables and chairs, it looks like, have been moved, and there's many blankets draped over a lot of them, and books piled up. If you didn't know better, you'd swear you were looking at a giant blanket fort.
Well, this is delightful.
This is some blanket architecture. You will definitely say that. This is impressive. And both of you hear very faintly, although Kelly, for you, it's not quite as faint, a very soft mewing sound.
Hello?
The mewing sound stops.
Somebody there?
You get no response.
I take a few steps in carefully.
Momentary of silence. Then you hear maybe something rustling somewhere in the blanket fort.
Cat?
Out from the blanket fort steps you would say a kitten. It's about this 2 handfuls of a size. Little calico. And the cat very shyly walks behind one of the table legs so that you can barely see it.
Hey, that's a cat, right? That's a cat, not a fairy cat. That is a cat.
Well, looks can be deceiving in our worlds, but it does appear to be a cat. Perhaps,
okay.
Perhaps you could communicate with it, one cat to another.
Give him a baffled look for a moment, but then I just kind of kneel down close to where the cat is hiding, not too close because I don't want to spook it. And I lean in and then put one hand out very slowly, palm up, so it can sniff.
It very slowly and with much caution walks towards you 2-3 steps. The very tip of its little pink nose kind of sniffles the end of your finger. And then it turns and darts back into the blanket fort. And a moment later, a little girl of about 7 and a half crawls out of the blanket fort.
Do I know this girl?
It's Cat.
Oh. There you are.
She crawls out, and the look on her face is sheepish, to say the least.
I was wondering where you'd gotten off to.
I left with Goldie.
So I've heard. Some of our friends from the freehold have been looking. They were worried.
Everyone was yelling. Cat is standing next to Rowan, but is looking at Kelly intently.
Yes, unfortunately, sometimes there are raised voices. This isn't always a bad thing, but...
She covers her little cat ears. It was too loud.
It was very loud.
She half smiles when Kelly says that.
But it's okay now. Everybody's worried about you.
Absolutely. We're absolutely worried. But I'm curious how long you've been here.
She shrugs.
How often have you been here?
I come here all the time.
And where is Goldie?
Oh, I don't know. I was taking a nap. I got really tired. Sometimes being here makes my head hurt, and I have to take a nap for a little while. Goldie likes to read, though.
Yeah?
She's trying to figure out a way to bring her dad back.
Oh. Interesting. Where did he go?
She points towards the window, towards the center of the park.
Mm.
He's in the big dark house.
And James, just for clarity for myself and the audience, the same house that I have seen in visions.
Yes, this is the same house you have seen in visions. That same dark stone house that you have seen on the island in the moonlight.
Well, this place sometimes can fuzzy up your memory.
She shakes her head emphatically with that.
And so we want to make sure that everybody that's been searching for you can sort of get back to the freehold before their memories are too fuzzy. Would you mind coming with Kelly and I?
Yeah, that's okay. She grabs one of the lanterns off of the wall and hands it to you. It has a little stub of a candle with a little almost cartoony flame, but it produces very real light.
I turn to Kelly. I don't want to be presumptuous, but I may need both hands where I'm going. I pass you the lantern.
I take it. Just be careful.
Kat reaches out and grabs Kelly's other hand. Come on. I'll show you where it's at. We're good in the dark.
I let them lead. Or, well, let Kat lead.
You, Kat, and Kelly step out of the door. You take just a moment to grab your own lantern, I assume, as there are multiples. Okay. As you step out, Kat looks at you, Kelly, and says, okay, this is how you do it. And you feel like you melt. And the whole world shifts perspective. In front of you is a cat. Again, that kitten. But it seems much larger now because you're on the same point of view.
Just confusion, silence for a moment. What?
And the kitten looks back at you. Come on.
Follow.
Takes a moment for you to move your body in that manner, but you find the movement is much faster. You are much more agile. In fact, it as you're moving in this feline form, as you look down at the little paws that you have, you feel like this fulfills that flying dream feel. You move with a grace and a fluidity that almost seems to defy gravity. Rowan, you, on the other hand, step out into the dark, and they're gone.
Well, that's unfortunate.
However, Kelly, it only lasts for a moment or two before she stops, and the world shimmers again, and you find yourself standing a little out of breath, back towards the intersection.
Wait. Why did it stop?
She looks at you. I was helping. You didn't smell right.
Okay.
She gets close and kind of nuzzles you. You smell right now.
Okay, not creepy at all. Sure. Pat her gingerly on the head.
And she now she waves the lantern over her head. Rowan, further up the road, you see the lantern wave. And
fabulous. I head toward it.
quick step, you follow. Meanwhile, Edie and Aaron. Aaron, you shine your flashlight. Edie, do you join Aaron, or are you still investigating the bookshelves?
I'll go join Aaron.
Okay. Then you also see what has taken Aaron by surprise is there is a girl about the same age as Kat. Long blonde hair. Very long pointed ears, much like Rowan's. Other than the twigs and the sticks that seem to be kind of knotted up into her hair, she would just be a child model for any kind of product. This is a beautiful kid. She's wearing a blue overcoat that looks like it was made sometime in the 1960s. On the back is the emblem for the Fairyland amusement park. And she is currently curled up with her knees pulled up. She has a blanket over her lap, and there is a saucer with a cup of tea on it next to her. And she's wearing spectacles, not just glasses, like spectacles. And they're about halfway down her nose when she looks at you. Hello.
Hello.
Hey there? Goldie?
Both of her eyebrows shoot up. You remember me?
I mean, I was partially guessing, but yeah, I mean, I remember Goldie. Sure.
We know your friend, Kat.
She smiles. Kat, yes. The smile is kind of laced with there's almost a bit of melancholy there. She kind of looks at the both of you. Well, I'm glad you remember.
What are you doing here all alone?
Kat needed to sleep. Transportation is harder on the youth. I'm enjoying a cup of tea. would you care for some? She reaches over to a little table nearby and offers it as a teapot. I think I have some more cups down here. She kind of rummages through the cups and brings up 2 more cups of tea and a little thing of sugar cubes.
Aaron looks to Edie.
I think I'm good, actually, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you.
She nods. I understand. Squire Aaron?
You know my name.
Again, that momentary half smile. Sweetheart, we've known each other for a long time.
What do you mean?
She gestures to a couple other piles of books.
Aaron takes a look at the books that she's gesturing to.
She holds the tea up. She looks at Aaron. What type of tea is this? Aaron, make me a wits gray mare roll. Your difficulty is 5.
Okay, that is 4 successes.
That is a Darjeeling tea with a twist of lemon and honey. That's how Goldie likes her. And that's how much of your brain before you cut off in shock.
Erin has that moment where her brows are furrowed together until she realizes, and then it shifts through emotions of shock, caution, understanding, confusion, just all of them, one right after another. How long have we known each other?
3 years, give or take. That smile, again, that melancholy sort of smile. And Edie, we haven't known each other as long, but your gowns are beautiful. Your collection last spring brought tears to my eyes.
I'm so happy. Thank you so much. I always enjoy hearing that, and I'm sorry that I don't remember knowing you as long as you remember knowing me, but like I'm happy to know you now again. This place is weird.
She nods emphatically. Yeah, it's very weird. And it's hard on the head. She puts down a book of psychology next to a book of mythology. As you notice, you look at a lot of the books here are like advanced college level or higher.
Wow. You've been doing some serious reading, Edie says, kind of nudging a pile of books with her foot.
I've had a lot of time to read.
How long have you been here?
What year is it? She says without a pause.
I pull up my phone's calendar and show it to her.
50-ish years.
Do you come and go from here as you please, or are you stuck here?
I can only leave for a little while.
Oh.
Come on. And she stands up. We should probably go find your friends.
Okay. So is it your club nest, whatever you want to call it, up in the clock tower?
Yeah, I like the bell.
I like it.
Thank you.
I can leave you snacks up there sometimes, something non-perishable, but, you know.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. You're a dear. She pats your hand as she walks by. It's a very grandmotherly pat, almost.
I mean, she's been here for 50 fucking years, so that makes sense. I'm not going to question it too hard. Aaron, did you hear that? I'm a deer, she says while like cupping her face in her hands excitedly. Wow.
Aaron is just kind of puzzling through all of this and then is taking some time as well to look at her clock. What's roughly the time right now?
It's about 11:30-ish.
And she looks at the clock on there and goes, "We've got to get to Rowan. Yes. If you know where our friends are, we've got to get there very quickly."
Yes, we can do that. This way. She takes the two of you by the hand and with all confidence leads you out into the dark on pathways that you couldn't know were there because of the darkness. And, Rowan, by the time you meet up with Kelly and Kat, Edie and Aaron step out of the darkness with another little girl about Kat's size. long blonde hair.
Good evening.
She bows to you. Sir Rowan.
There's just like probably the ever so slight like narrowing of my eyes. Just for a moment. I look at Aaron and say, we found Cat.
And we found Goldie.
How fitting.
As you are, Goldie and Cat meet in the middle of the group, and Goldie asks Cat how was her nap and if she's hungry, and Cat giggles, no. And they kind of step off to the side and are talking, as children do. From nearby in one of the shadows, the set of now familiar set of hoof steps, if you will, steps into view. Looks like you were successful.
Yes, it does appear that way.
He walks over to the two youths, crouches down. You gave your mother an awful fright. He says to Cat, you? Okay. He stands back up, turns back to you. Cannot say I've not given you ample opportunity to ready yourself.
I look at my watch.
You'd say there's about 15 till.
Yes, very well. To the bridge then.
So Rowan and Hart begin walking towards this illuminated stone and wood bridge. What are the other three of you doing currently?
What's going on with Sir Hot Stuff? What's happening?
Duel, apparently. The antler one said there has to be a duel, so they're gonna duel. I don't know how this works here, but this is like 18th century kind of stuff. Dueling? Really?
Hey, Squire, this feels like something you should know more about. What's going on?
Yeah. And you can see that she's kind of switched into Squire mode, where she's just kind of readying. You can see she's partway doing her own warm-ups too. She's like, yeah, exactly what you think. Duel? Her ladyship issued the duel for us, and she starts doing crunches as she's talking. Her ladyship asked us to do this duel, and my lord must do it. I am the squire. As the second. Ooh, does he have a second? Do you have a second? And she gestures to the antler man.
He looks back. He's around here somewhere. I don't try to keep an eye on him.
Is it the, and she makes a slithering motion with her hand. Ah, yes. Yes, he's out of the trash can.
He is never going to forgive you for that, by the way.
Slightly seems, like a perfectly fine little, smells like Drek. Absolutely like a Hinderblast. Like, it's not fun.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Seems relatively nice enough,
You understand. You guys popped right into the freehold. We were very shocked. It got very dark. I was just doing what any squire would do.
And truth be told, if you had lost the battle, then we would have just taken the freehold from you. No offense.
See?
And he smiles at you.
So see,
hey,
all things considered seems nice enough.
Sir Rowan, so that you understand, this is a fight to first blood. I don't need to kill you.
Oh. Wonderful. I shan't want to be killed.
Very good. However, do you understand the stakes of the duel?
The stakes of the duel. I understand what I've been charged with, but please, let's reiterate.
It is important you understand. He points at Kelly. Her creation, recreation. We invoke the right, the Twin Cities' right of birth. Because she is new, the opportunity has arisen for us to wrest the throne from the Duchess. She didn't tell you that, did she?
I am aware that the court has been attempting to wrest control for some time.
Absolutely. But we figured now was a perfectly good time. And he looks back at Kelly. Don't feel bad, dear. If it
What
wasn't
did I
you,
do?
right place, right time. Your very existence means that we have an opportunity to unseat the Duchess. Every time one is born in the Twin Cities, we just usually let it slide.
Wait, I got a question. You want to dethrone the bodacious one? Like, whoa, hold on. Like, that's not rowing. Sir, she says with like an over dramatic, like giant curtsy. You can't let that bodacious babe get dethroned. Like, you gotta, whatever you need to do to make sure this goes well, like, fucking.
He looks at Edie, but, I mean, have you even checked out the opposition? We have cookies.
Listen, I am not okay with my existence being used to justify awful. Like, that's not okay.
He raises a hand. Hey, it was in the books. It was an excuse. Would you prefer that we just randomly do it? Then you would have no security at all.
No, I'd prefer we not do any of this personally. I like existing. I like things being safe and normal, and I don't see why any of that has to change, to be completely honest, just because I happen to exist. Or why that's any of your fucking business.
Fair enough. I'd rather be at home redoing a rewatch of Downton Abbey. Instead, I have to be out here.
Well, let's get this taken care of then.
Indeed. He looks to the group of the rest of you. He kind of gestures towards the manor or the other end of the bridge. No interference, and I don't want any casualties. So for the rest of you, are you headed towards the manor house, or are you headed back in towards the park?
I'm going wherever Rowan goes.
I'm gonna watch. I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'll get out of the way, but like, this is some fucked up bullshit. Kelly has had a couple of days, okay? Just a couple of days, capital D. And so she's not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere else, just out of the way.
Out of the way.
The
Okay.
stabby bits.
Out of the way of the stabby bits. Okay. Well, the bridge is not horribly long. It's not like, several hundred feet long. It is just, you'd say maybe 25 feet long.
I am going to check for trolls just in case because, well...
Right. You look under the bridge and there is movement under there, but it's not large and blue, so it's not the type of troll that you're used to. So there's probably something chimerical under the bridge, but the sound of foot and hoof steps on the bridge itself have caused it to retreat into the shadows.
All right. I'm going to just sort of performatively begin like calisthenics, like stand in one spot and do kneels and stand back up and like stretch. Rowan, again, is not like a physically large or powerful. I mean, he might be tall. I suppose because his she seeming is here, he's tall because, well, they're tall. But he's not overly bulky. He's rather lithe, actually.
More willowy, if you will.
Yeah. I gotta amp up. The hotness has to go on full display.
Right. You have to bump up the jams. So Kelly is nearby. Edie and Aaron, since the bridge is not particularly wide, are a bit further away. Aaron, make me a perception enigmas roll real quick.
1 success.
1 success. All right. There's as you're standing, you happen to kind of half glance behind you, and the door to the manor house is there. It's a big single black oak bound in some sort of metal, and there is no handle and no lock. There is just like a door knocker. It looks like a hand, but there is no there is no door knocker in it, just an empty hand. So, Rowan, you have limbered and stretched.
I have.
Hart reaches into a bag and pulls out an ridiculously large sword out of a very small bag. You would say great or bastard. You're not sure which one he would prefer to be called, but he hefts the sword up onto his shoulder. It shines black in the reflected moonlight.
Okay.
So, Rowan, I, Darkheart of the Unseelie Court, challenge you to a duel.
Very well. I'm going to probably do something that Aaron's never seen before. I take the peace bond off my weapon.
Oh.
And I pull out a very long and beautifully crafted sword. And when it comes out of the sheath, the air hums. And I say, I accept. I, Sir Rowan, heir to the Morgana hold, that hold. And I now hold you accountable for your challenge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to invoke my Birthright merit. And so, having spoke who I am with my merit, I'm going to now drop my any social roles difficulty by 2, which when you're talking about social roles for she, if you're dropping difficulties, that means real good things.
It sure does. So, should we open this up with just a bit of initiative here?
Yeah, sure.
Real quick. All right. So you won't all be involved in this. We'll try to make this part not to take horribly long. I don't want to bog you all down with this.
That's Heart's desire, is to make it quick.
Right. 100%.
Okay. So just D10 plus Dex plus Wits?
Yep.
Okay. So I go on 14.
He goes on a 9, so you go first, sir.
Okay. So now we'll do the thing. I am going to take said sword, and I am going to very elegantly draw a semicircle in front of me. And I'm going to say, as a protector of life, I refused to spill your blood here on this ground. But if that is the only way, then you will force me to do it. And what I'm going to do is, with that bunk, is I'm going to cast Grandeur. And so if you'd let me know any of the bunk benefit as far as the modifier goes.
I will say the bunk benefit will lower your difficulty by 1, sir.
Okay. So, and I will, of course, explain what Grandeur does, because it's fun. All right. So I have 4 successes on Grandeur. All of the characters' social interaction add automatic successes equal to the successes from the cantrip, and anyone affected by the cantrip has to spend a willpower point per success to overcome, belittle, attack, offend the character. That's every time he tries to attack me, he has to spend 4 points of willpower.
All right. That is... You see his knuckles whiten on the heft of the sword, and he grits his teeth. You can hear the grinding of the teeth from here.
It's like anime teeth.
Yep. As he takes one step forward, the effort that he is showing to advance on you right now is, you don't want to say it's horrific, but he manages to take at least 2 steps in this round and ready the sword.
Okay, very good.
That is as far as he manages to get in this round. However, he does hit the ground with the tip of his sword and drag it across the stone, and the sparks from that leap into the air and begin dancing around in a dizzying and disorienting manner.
Interesting.
Looks as though he is attempting to distract you as his opening gambit.
Distraction. Okay. Is there a... that's just his bunk, or is he actually casting something?
That was his bunk. That is the sparks that are the sparks from the tip of the sword. He is actually casting Kindle, which I will read aloud.
Yep.
Kindle. Kindle heats the focus of the glamour enough to cause discomfort but not injure. Kindle can cook food, help start a fire, or make someone sweat and appear feverish. The realm determines the target. He is utilizing a prop. All right, so you are now at a +1 difficulty as the sparks leap through the air, twist, and alight on the tip of your blade, and you feel the entire heft of the sword become uncomfortably warm in your hand. It's not searing you, but it's like that pan that was taken out of the oven a little while ago that you could put down, but you probably, there's nowhere to put it.
Okay, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we come back around initiative, then what I will do is I will gracefully begin to dance on the bridge. Like, in effect, weaving my way in a circle around him. That's the goal.
Okay.
And as I do that, I will continue to carve that circle down on the bridge. So the weapon I'm using is a chimerical weapon. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm doing is I'm cutting a line around him. That's the goal. That's the bunk.
Okay. So you have moved essentially a half circle around him now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to be completely defensive. That's the plan.
Okay. He is not going to be defensive. He is going to be offensive, sir. Mm-hmm. He is going to swing at you for the first time. The other three of you hear this sound of this large black chimerical blade slide through the air. It makes an audible whooshing sound that is, you won't say scary, but it definitely makes you pucker a little bit. See, GMs can roll like crap too. Right, so 1 success.
My plan is to parry.
Then please roll, sir.
That's all I'm doing is I'm parrying. And I have, that's a 10. I have 3.
You three, you see him effortlessly parry with this rather fine, fancy blade. He parries looks like a Buick with a handle as it whooshes through the air. It is your turn, sir.
Very good. I will continue my dance to get around the rest of the circle.
Okay.
When I finish my circle around him, mm-hmm. I'm going to activate the chimerical weapon, which is Wayfair. And I'm going to portal his ass out of here.
Okay. All right.
Oh, and the circle drawing is my bunk, so let me know the value of the bunk.
I will lower your difficulty by... We'll say, you know what? That was quite a good bunk. You utilized 2 combat rounds for it, so I will lower your difficulty by 2.
Okay. And of course, I'll be using Fae as he's Fae.
Right.
And I'll probably have to use... Given it's a bridge, I'll have to use Scene, which I have. Okay. Spend point of willpower. So, 5.
All right. Damn. All right. So there's a look of shock and surprise on his face just for a moment. Where does the portal lead?
That's a great question. So I think ideally it needs to exit essentially about 30 feet up. I think he's a fairly tough man. He can probably take a 30-foot fall. But I'm gonna sort of aim it over the water so that he doesn't land on the bridge, which would likely be fatal.
Okay. He vanishes from view. Heart falls straight down. You, for a moment, the three of you think that maybe the bridge collapsed, but the bridge is whole. When he's gone, he's just gone. And then you would say probably about 4 or 5 tenths of a second later, There's a resounding sploosh in the pond lake behind you, and the sound of thrashing. The three of you can see over the side of the bridge that he is currently, it looks like Hart is now thrashing about and attempting. Might make me a perception alertness roll.
Sure. I wonder if there's something in that pond. Yeah, I mean, 2.
No, it's not that there's anything in the pond, but after the second time that he surfaces, you get the distinct feeling that Hart can't swim.
I gasp, and immediately sheath my sword. And I point at Aaron and say, "He can't swim!" and begin immediately running towards the pond.
Takes you, you see Rowan sprint down the side of this, the side of the pond, the side of the bridge. Do you leap into the water to give him a hand?
I will, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Aaron will do so as well.
All right, Aaron leaps off the bridge, and Rowan leaps into the pond. This is actually more lake-sized, small lake. The water is not great, but, the seaweed and goo and whatnot. It takes just a moment, Rowan, for you to get to him. Aaron takes you a moment or two longer. Swimming in armor is not the greatest, although being a chimerical armor, this is pretty good. Mm-hmm. It's easier. Between the two of you, you drag Hart back to shore. He kind of hefts himself up onto the side and waves a hand kind of feebly. I yield.
I pat him heartily on the shoulder. You're a fierce combatant.
He sits up a little bit. You didn't have to save me.
Yes, I did. I look at him deeply and intently as I would a doctor look at a patient. I did have to save you.
Well, thank you.
I retie my weapon.
Aaron and Edie and Kelly, Aaron is currently climbing out of the water. There is a bit of lake weed and muck and whatnot on all three of them. Hart has seaweed or lake weed and whatnot hanging from his antlers that he's slowly pulling and dropping in front of him. Splop.
Well then, that is that, I think. Almost. I'm going to head back towards the bridge and towards the house.
All right. Back towards the others. And by the three of you, it's not a terribly large island. So, Aaron, I assume you also.
I follow where Rowan goes.
Sir Rowan, yeah. So you head back towards the door of the manor house. And he is, the four of you are now, two of you are dripping wet and cold. But there it is, Rowan. This place that you've thought about off and on for the last, since you were little.
So you said the knocker on the door is a hand?
Yes.
Like
an empty hand.
In what? It's an empty hand, like palm up, palm down?
Palm down.
Okay. I reach up and shake the hand.
Cold metal, maybe brass.
I turn to Aaron. This house has been in my dreams longer than I can remember. I wonder how. I knock on the door.
There's a deep booming echo inside from, the knock.
I look back. Edie?
Yes, sir?
Aaron seems lost in thought for the moment.
She's not lost in thought. I was just calling over to Edie, and then I was going to turn to Aaron and say, yes?
Perhaps because it's here, that's why you couldn't remember where it came from.
Maybe.
I'm going to walk straight past them and enter the house. I'm not going to ask permission. I'm just going to go inside.
Oh, the door is still closed. It's firmly locked.
I'm going to try
no door handle.
Oh, there's no door handle.
Or lock.
Oh, I can't lockpick it. Okay, hold on. Let me think.
What kind of metal is the hand made of?
Brass. Like an old brass.
Are there windows I can reach?
There's only a few windows and they're kind of higher up.
Fine, I'll wait for them to get inside of their own way.
I was actually hoping you could help me.
Oh.
Get in.
Yeah, sure. What's up?
I need to get in the house.
Well, right, but how do you think that I can
I don't know.
personally assist? Okay.
Can you make me a door handle?
Can I make you a door handle? I think I could make a door handle.
Erin has a moment where she's looking at the hand that's there and then looks to the brass ring that's on her wrist.
Looks almost exactly the same age. Pitted and old.
Erin slips the ring off of her wrist. And as Sir Rowan and Edie are speaking, she also kind of looks at Kelly, just gives a very Cluricon kind of shrug of just like a, let's see, and puts the ring in the hand.
The ring that you picked up from the old bracelet that you picked up from the box of goods that you found in Edie's workshop, that she had casually just bought from an old estate sale and hadn't really thought about it. The metal hand, the four of you start because there's a metal fatigue sound as the fingers bend and grab the ring loosely. And it looks like they've always been together now.
I'm going to try to carefully press on the door.
I think you have to knock first, probably.
Of course. Formalities. I knock on the door.
You boom, boom, boom. And the door creaks open. Goldie looks up at you. I think I can go home now.
Oh?
It's in there somewhere. I've been waiting to get inside the manor house.
Edie's going to kind of stand on her tippy toes and try to stretch like she could get close enough to being Rowan's height to whisper in his ear. Is Goldie related to you?
I don't know. Kind of shrug.
She kind of walks into the manor house, gesturing to the four of you. As you walk in, and the walls are made of stone. Rowan, this is surreal to say the least. You've never seen the inside of this building before.
Mm-hmm.
As you're walking, Goldie, my father, he bought this, the whole house. He drags his hand. She drags her hand along it. Had it moved here because I asked him to. She turns around. Daddy loved me, and he would do anything for me. And it was too much. He didn't know what he bought.
I look around and, sort of slowly investigate the house that I've been, plagued by dreams for, I don't know how many years.
She slowly, as you're walking through the house, her voice is echoing more and more because she's, not getting ahead of you, but she's just a footstep or two ahead of you. This is a place I spent a lot of time in before the park closed. And then the ring to open the door disappeared. I'm waiting a long time.
I know the feeling. I've seen this house.
Eventually the four of you are led, five with Kat, are led into a large round chamber with a fairly large stone and wood seat at one end, at the what we'd call the acoustic focal point at the far end. In the middle is a sunken pit area filled with charcoal and wood with a very small flickering flame inside. As you walk in, all four of you may gain 2 points of glamour.
Oh, wow.
As it is just thick in the air here. Above this chair, Rowan, is your family crest.
Oh. Aaron's probably seen that.
Yes. It's the same crest that you have on your armor's breastplate. Yep. Goldie gestures to to the chair. I think that's yours, Rowan.
I think it is. Then this is Morgana's hold.
She nods. Indeed. Somewhere in this manor, my father is lost. Will you help me find him? Are you ready to take on a new quest?
I will help you find your father. We must see Kat back to Pepper first, though.
Of course. I would never see her harmed. She looks to the other three of you. And I could never ask you. You've already done so much, but would you help me?
Oh, Goldie. Fuck yeah. Of course I would. Are you kidding? 1, you're a friend, even if I didn't remember you as well as I wish I could. 2, you're a fan of the spring line. There weren't enough of those. 3, obviously, I wouldn't let somebody like you be in need, especially if it means I could poke around more and maybe check out the interior design of this place. Of course I would help you.
Aaron nods and says, anything to help.
Lastly, Goldie looks at Kelly.
Family's important. Sure.
With those taken, and a brand new adventure about before you, the weariness of the evening seems to whisk away in the night with like the mists and the memories of some of the unfortunate things that have happened to you to get here. You know that tomorrow's dawn, the throne is secured. The Twin Cities will remain in the Seelie hands. And Rowan, you have replaced one quest with another.
That sounds good, though. That sounds right in line with House Fiona.
And with that, I bring Of Whispers of the Lost to a close. I would like to thank first and foremost my 4 amazing players. You have done my heart good, and thank you so much for helping me craft such an amazing story. And second, and definitely not leastly, I would like to thank all of our listeners. Without your help, your Patreon help, your feedback, we could not persevere as we do. So thank you all. And for the last time, for the Changeling, good night.